What we want to take a look at today are a couple of things that you'll need to know if you're working on a project that is phased. So we are going to start this just from I'm just going to open up a project just out of the box template and take a look at a new tool called View Manager, I believe it is. So let's go Models, New, and we'll use this construction template. It's got a lot of stuff already in there. So let's take a look at what we got here. So not much to start with in the project browser, which is actually a good thing. Level 0, that's kind of odd. When I look at level 0 in a project, I'm thinking that that's maybe used for some sort of coordination with civil, but if you go to a section, I should be able to spot that, or an elevation. It doesn't look like I have any sections in here. But looking at this, it says level 0 as 0 and level 1 at 4,000. Whew, weird. I'm okay with that, but that's probably something that might throw people off in a project. Okay, level 1 is typically ground floor, I would say, but maybe that's just a matter of opinion. But for the purpose of this project, I'm just going to delete level 1. Gives me some messages saying what's going to happen. I'm going to come back to this guy and call this level 1 and leave level 1. It says, do you want to rename the corresponding views? Yes. So what that does is just renames the ceiling plan that was associated with that level at 0 to be ceiling plan level 1 as well. So now I've got something that it can start with. So let's say the project has a couple more levels than this. I'll go back to architecture, hit level, and go to the pick lines tool. And I'm going to put this in at 3400 and just make sure I got some plan view types. Okay, so this is not necessary. Let's put this one in. So you'll notice I get level 2, level 3. Level 3 I'm going to change to roof. And hit yes on that. And that'll be that for now. Let's go back to the floor plan, the level 1 floor plan. And I'm just going to go to the view tab and pop a scope box in here quickly. This way. From an elevation, I can select my levels, and we can apply that scope box. It says cannot be associated. Let's push this down just a little bit. Try that again. It could have been that the level was coplanar. Yeah, it looks like the level and the bottom plane of the scope box was actually coplanar. So it didn't really want to use it as the extent. So I don't really need it up that high. We'll leave it there. Now, if I'm putting together a set of views for a phased project, the chances are the starting process is going to be that you need to you need to create the phase existing geometry. So that would start first. So let's go take a look up here at the Manage tab and just see what our phasing setup looks like. So Revit out of the box is going to have an existing and a new construction phase. You may see something like annotation or model management or standards, something like that, a phase that pre-exists the existing, and that might mean there could be, I don't know, template goodies on that phase, and they're meant to exist in the project to hold information. But for what we're going to talk about for now is just getting existing geometry into the project and proposed geometry, and we'll use these two phases that are already here. The other thing to consider is what the phase filters are per view. So the phase filters are kind of like an equation where you have the filter name, what the new information or the new elements are going to look like, what the existing elements are going to look like, or whether they're going to be shown or not, and then what the demolished and temporary. So let's move over to graphic overrides here. And if you take a look at these, this is just a table to tell you what the phase filter is going to do to the geometry that belongs to those phases if a phase filter is applied. So for instance, if my phase filter is show previous and demo, and I'm in the new construction phase, then anything that is existing will show up with these graphic overrides. And the phase filter graphic override is very high priority. So let's just take a look at how that's going to work. So I'm going to hit OK, go to level 1, and level 1's phase is set to new construction. So if I draw a wall, any old wall, you see that it shows up as black because it inherits the view properties. So the view itself was new construction. So the element that I create in it is new construction as well. You can see it says phase created, new construction, phase demolished, none. But let's say we change that phase to existing. Now you can see it's changed it to a coarse level of detail. And if I turn on my line weights, you can see that it's a half-tone gray instead. So that's with the show all phase filter on. But if we say show previous and demo, we don't see any change. If we say show complete, that existing to remain wall shows up as though it's proposed. So going back to the phase menu and clicking on phase filter, anytime you want to decipher how you're going to see something, you need to take a look at what is the phase of the view, what is the phase filter, and what is the phase of the element that I'm looking at. Okay, and then you go in here and you decide what you want that to look like. So let's demo part of this wall. Let's say to our contractor, I need this portion of the wall to be demolition. When you click on that element, you can then go to phase demolished and change it, to new construction. And then because of our phase filter is show complete, that element is no longer there. But again, as I said earlier, if I say show previous and demo, then this element comes back and it shows as though it needs to be taken out. Similar if you go to a 3D view now, because the 3D view is showing with the shaded graphic display option, you see it with its shaded value relative to that material override. And so if you go back into phasing and you look at the graphic overrides, you'll see that phase demolish actually has a material override that gets applied to it as well. So this would override any material shade properties that a wall might have.